Well, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, with me now on the phone from Washington is Congressman Rodney Davis, who just as January was elected as our 13th district congressman and put into place, and we'll welcome Rodney Davis. Congressman Davis, it's a pleasure to have you with us this morning, and it was really a pleasure to see you on the floor there at the House.
It was a pleasure to see you, Gale, and as I told you a minute ago, you got to quit sneezing during that Farm Bill hearing. You're distracting us from doing good work. But in all seriousness, Gale, it was great to have you there, and I hope you enjoyed the time. It was pretty much of a marathon experience.
It truly was, and I believe you finished up about a little bit before midnight. Now, that's a marathoner.
It was about 11:45, and ironically, my subcommittee chairman, Mike Conaway, just walked by me, and he said he promised me next time it's going to end earlier.
Well, this was your first as a freshman, a congressman, the first time in the markup bill. And also, I tell you what, I just got off of the phone with Paul Taylor, the president of the Illinois Corn Growers. And I tell you what, we're all just super proud of you as our representative there for the 13th district, in that you brought several amendments to the floor. One of them, of course, was to kind of make sure that we as farmers have a seat at any EPA function that is going to have anything to do with agriculture. And we really applaud that amendment.
Well, thank you, Gale, and thank Mr. Taylor, too. I mean, it's a humbling experience for me, going through my first markup, being someone who grew up around agriculture, but I'm learning a great deal every single time that I sit in that committee. And to be able to go through all those amendments on the Farm Bill and to see that the two that I introduced be accepted by both parties.
Right.
I mean, that really meant a lot to me. The amendment you're talking about, the Davis-Goodlatte amendment, I mean, it's a true regulatory overreach by this administration, the EPA in particular. I mean, think back to last year when they were going to regulate milk spills.
Right.
Like oil spills. I mean, you cannot compare a spill at a dairy farm to the Exxon Valdez. And that's what EPA wanted to do. And that's what our bill is going to stop. We're going to give USDA, the Department of Agriculture, a seat at the table to be able to make some good decisions when EPA comes up with these cockamamie schemes.
Yep, absolutely. And the other amendment that you brought forth as a part of the write-up session was in favor of amendment, as you spoke up, to kind of strengthen the revenue-based programs. Now, we didn't get away from target prices; those are in there, and then the insurance provisions didn't necessarily come out the way everybody expected. But before we took the air, Rodney, Congressman, you made a very important fact as to getting it on the floor. Would you repeat that for me?
Absolutely, Gale. I mean, you saw me go after Congressman Jim McGovern, a good friend of mine, great guy from Massachusetts, doesn't understand how important crop insurance and risk management programs are to central and southwestern Illinois.
Yes, sir.
But Mr. McGovern was trying to attack crop insurance in order to stop any cuts to the waste and fraud in our SNAP program, our food nutrition program, our food stamp program. I found that offensive, that he was attacking our biggest strength in Illinois, which is risk management tools and crop insurance.
Yep.
Well, this amendment that he put forth failed, and I'm happy to espouse our strength. But also, I think this bill, we have to remember that we've got to get a bill out of the House.
Right.
And when you compare what's in the Senate, a Senate bill, a Democrat-controlled Senate, is always going to pass a bill that has more, costs more, and will never pass the House. And conversely, the House bill will have less, cost less, and never pass the Senate. But the key is, let's get back to governing. Congress needs to govern again. That's why we need to get a bill out of both houses, get it to conference committee, come up with common sense solutions.
And I tell you what, we are just so tickled to death that you are there as a common sense spokesperson and our congressman from the 13th district, and our kudos goes out to Congresswoman Bustos, as well as Congressman Engert, that also chimed in. I tell you what, being from Illinois, I was just proud as punch sitting in that room, and we are certainly appreciating your work and your hard efforts and your common sense approach, Representative Davis, and you're truly a friend of ours, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, Gale, thank you, and thank you for being there. And I agree with you when it comes to the bipartisanship. of this farm bill. It passed by a huge bipartisan margin. Let's get it off the floor.
Yep, absolutely. And give my best to Shannon, if you will.
I will. Yeah, you take care.
Thank you. Representative Congressman Rodney Davis, my special guest and friend here on WYXY Classic Morning Show. And truly, it was my pleasure to get to see him in action as a freshman congressman. And I tell you what, he is truly punching the bag for us in Central Illinois. We appreciate him. Here in just a little bit, but we will be running over to Premier Cooperative. We'll take a look at those overnight markets here on WYXY Classics. Lord bless you. You have a great morning. You stay tuned. Premier Cooperative coming up.